Depression, suicide, and mental health in general are taboo topics for discussion, and this mentality has fueled stigma and discrimination in all its forms in schools, homes, churches, and places of work. Mental health is the pivot of human life. However, despite its importance, it is often the least prioritized amongst health conditions. Dweriba Daniel is busy helping people thrive amidst mental health challenges. His purpose is to inspire hope, bring healing, restoration, empower, and challenge people to turn their dreams into reality. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the best of the good life more than ever. My name is Drago. What a show we have prepared for you. If you're just meeting Daniel Dweriba for the first time, Daniel is a high school teacher. He is an inspirational speaker. He is a holistic counselor and a life coach. His purpose is to inspire hope, bring restoration, and also to challenge people that can change their past into greatness. Now, Daniel is a person that is fascinated with rejection. He goes on preaching the gospel and encouraging people to change their way of living. This time, he says that he has some great information to share with you, people that are coping with depression. I know depression can be a very dreaded emotional fear, but hey, once you get that person that can lead you back to that very hard path to happiness, then you'll be glad to have that person in your life. Now, he is the author of a great book that I've just found out on top of the one he had before, and this goes by the title of Hope in the Age of Depression. I hope he is the hope for anybody. Now, Daniel, I've had him on the show before, and this brother fascinated so many. People reached out to him with their problems, and they said depression is actually a real thing. For us, we have this stigmatization and that ideology of thinking actually people don't get depressed here. But research has it, and it's a staggering research. Almost, I think, 400 people are suffering mental health illness in Arua and the world over, you know. And these people are hoping that one day they get a ray of hope. And Daniel is here to give out all that information. I'm glad and honored to introduce again the incredible Daniel. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
It's the second time having you on the show.
Yeah.
How has it been like?
It's been very good and at the same time very tough because of the workload, which has been very out there, which is overwhelming. But we are good to go. We are good to go. It is
okay. What was the response like for the first time we had you on the show?
Yeah, the first time we were here, I think that night I slept at 1 a.m. because the calls were really big.
Yeah.
And I remember how people were calling me and others were asking me why I have abandoned West Nile as a region because I was based in Masaka.
Yeah.
And over 5 people were calling me asking me the same questions, and they were from different locations. And it dawned on me that I think there is need to go back home. So West Nile as a region, you know, we've suffered a lot of issues to do with the rejection, to do with the depression, mental health issues, and suicide is so high that side. And when people were calling me and when I saw all the messages on WhatsApp and SMS, I was like, hey, I need to go back home. So, but how do I go and how do I start? I was like, okay, let me go and begin. So I had to go back home and Arua to be precise.
Okay.
And then I began to do mental health advocacy, community-based, moving into communities, villages, towns, schools, churches, mosques, engaging religious leaders. And much as it seems to be a very long journey yet, but I'm sure we will get there.
Okay, so Daniel, what people don't know is that depression and mental health issues are actually real things. They're within us, but they also have solution.
Yeah, true.
And this doesn't have to do with your status. It doesn't have to do with your position in government. It doesn't have to do with your age. It affects all of us.
That's true.
And we're all in this bubble together.
That's right.
Tell me, first of all, somebody would want to know if depression, we say it's there, what is depression in the first instance?
Depression, I will summarize it in that it is just a feeling of sadness that doesn't go away for weeks, and then it begins to interfere with your day-to-day activities.
Okay.
begins to affect your life, begins to interfere with your work. Instead of going to work, you choose to remain back. Instead of going out of bed, you choose to remain in bed. Instead of doing something else, you just feel like, why do this? Because of the heaviness, because of the burdens in the heart. So before you know it, things begin to fall apart. So basically that is to do with the depression, where that feeling of sadness that does not go away for weeks and even longer, can even be for months. You are just sad and you are worried, and all that begins to interfere with your normal day-to-day activities.
Okay, so what are some of the telltale signs that I'm actually in a depressing state?
Yeah.
I'm depressed.
Yeah, now one thing I want to bring out here is that somebody who is depressed may not even know that they're actually depressed.
Okay.
So it takes another person to actually notice. That's why I have suffered that before. I know the pain of depression. I know how it feels to be depressed. That's why I'm always moved when I see people depressed. I always reach out there and let others know that it can actually be treated, can be helped. One of the triggers you can actually know that somebody is depressed is if somebody has ever been smart, very smart, and then all of a sudden they begin to be shabby. All of a sudden they don't care about what they put on. They don't care about whether the shirt is ironed or whether the trouser is ironed, whether the shoe is polished, whether their hair is combed, whether their teeth is brushed, whether they have showered. They don't care. Then you know there is a problem going on here. You can quickly reach out. One thing I want to say, like you said, the person doesn't know status. It affects anybody, you know. So it's not something that should be taken lightly, that it is for a particular reason, maybe for particular people. It affects everybody. And one other thing that I want to bring out here is, please, when you see somebody in that state, they have begun to live careless lives, no, they are struggling with depression, they need help. Number two, you can see that this person needs help or is depressed when you see that they have red eyes. Red eyes bring out two things. Either there is no sleep in this person's life, or this person is actually on drugs.
Okay.
Somebody who has taken the drugs, definitely the eyes will, the first thing to do to realize that this person is actually high or is so low is the eyes. Somebody to have red short eyes means that they're actually on drugs or there's no sleep.
Why should we have such awarenesses when it comes to mental health? Why is mental health important?
You know, I look at mental health, I normally say this. We advocate for mental health and mental wellness because if we don't deal with it, then we are likely heading towards mental health challenges, which now begins to manifest in depression, which comes with psychosis, which ends, there is now the mental breakdown. But yet, these people actually can live fruitful lives. You know, that's why I have some 4 questions. In fact, what drove me to begin this and recruiting people to do this is, 1, how many people do we have locked up in our houses or in our communities who are even right now on the chains? We've locked them up because of mental health challenges. There are so many. And they're not even been helped and catered for. Number 2, how many people have we lost to suicide as a result of mental health challenges? So many. The problem is in our culture, when somebody commits suicide, we first cane them before we bury them. But then I had to ask myself, for how long shall we be caning dead bodies? Why can't we speak to those who are contemplating suicide? Why can't we talk to them? You know, so that's when I'm like, no, we need to do something. Number 3, how many people do we have in our homes, our relatives and friends, who have become serial drug addicts, who have given their lives to alcohol, to marijuana, to marungi, to all kind of drugs?
How do we help these people cope with depression? People that are coping with depression, how do we help them?
Now, helping these people begin, you know, depression, one of the causes, one of the core cause of depression is found in the Bible. Okay. Proverbs 12:25. In New King James, it says that anxiety in the heart of man causes depression, but a good word makes it glad. Okay. So you see that it is all to do with anxiety in the heart of man. And this anxiety comes from different backgrounds. Can come from rejections, can come from the environment you you're in, can come because of the childhood trauma that you have lived with or you have experienced, can come from different other backgrounds. However, even when somebody is in that state, they can still get help. How do you get help? Number one, I want to say, find time to be able to go for medical checkup, first of all.
Okay.
And then get treatment from a recognized facility, medical facility. Depression cannot be treated with the local herbs.
Okay.
But when you go up country, people believe that it is because of witchcraft, that somebody is actually goes insane, or somebody has depression because of witchcraft, and therefore they are rushed to the shrines. But no, don't take them to the shrines, but bring them to a medical facility where they can get treatment. Because with the treatment, they can actually get better. I have lived experience on this, and even I have seen people like that before. In Masaka, I know of a lady we picked from the dustbin, having been there for many years. She was picked, she was cared for, she was loved, she was given care and support and food, and then also medications.
Okay.
After 4 months, only 4 months, she was well, and she was given back to her family. You know, so medications help. That's number one. Number two, what I always tell people is the issue of therapy. Natural therapy is available. One of them is speaking about the issue. Many people will say, I don't want to talk about this issue because it reminds me of the pain. And therefore, whenever I think about it, I cry. It's okay to cry about it, because even men will cry. You know, because I'm a man, I know.
Okay.
I've ever cried, you know. But when you speak out this pain, when you speak out, when you open up to somebody, this person, the more you open to somebody, that feeling, the pain of hopelessness, the issues will always come out. Okay. And then you get help, you know, from a counselor. You get help from somebody, from a friend. Like I said, depression, you can't treat it by yourself. It takes a friend to help you deal with it.
Okay. So, Daniel, I see you authored another book that says Hope in the Age of Depression.
Yep.
And Hope in the Age of Depression, we're going to talk about it a little bit when we return. This could be one of the solutions, I hope, for the depressed people who are out there. Now, guys, I'm going to talk to you personally as an individual. Just listen to Drago, all right? I'm not an expert in this, but I'm telling you that depression is a real thing. And mental health should actually be one of the key things that we should front. You know, a lot of people are ignoring this. A lot of people know of people that are passing through depression, but they're isolating them. They're not helping them to seek for help. And Daniel is here to preach more about that. So we are going to stay digging into this conversation, and we stay with him. Don't move an inch. Please hang with us.
On UBC, the program that helps you identify opportunities for investment, job creation, growing your entrepreneurial skills, wealth creation, and social transformation.
We have a product that is ready for schools, supermarkets.
Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Every week, we showcase opportunities for creating new products and enterprises.
I now harvest a lot of cocoa. When I harvest it, I sell. After selling, I put money in my project. I have 2 projects. 1 is for construction of my house, 2 is for educating my children.
Excellence in innovation, the passion and drive to succeed, and the right mindset to grow your business. Lives transformed on UBC. Every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Brought to you by Operation Wealth Creation.
Welcome back to the Best of the Good Life. Now, if you're just joining us, you have to know this, that we are being joined by a gentleman from, let me quote this right, Voice of Restoration International. And this man goes by the names of Driliba Daniel. I like him so much because this man has a lot on his plate. He has a lot he has to do to change the world. So why not create a platform for him to share all this? Now, he's talking all this based on his personal experience, because he says, you know what, Drago, I myself have passed through depression and I've dealt with it. So I want to help any person that is seeking help in that field right there to reach out and get the help that is required. So Daniel, tell me, how are you planning to lay your roots back home in Arua? Because somebody requested you and you showed me that message before that. Why don't you fly your wings to Arua? Because there's a high testimony of people that are drug users, people that are going through the rough of depression and perhaps need your restoration. So what plans have you put in place going back home?
Yeah, what I had to do was to begin with the structures down on the grassroots, because we are doing community-based mental health advocacy. Like I was telling you that West Nile as a region is leading when it comes to issues to do with the trauma. Is leading because we've had so many insurgencies. The impact of war has never left the people the same. And with the different other challenges that have been on the ground, and then looking at what is on the ground, drugs has been, West Nile has drugs in all the states of matter, solid, liquid, and gaseous. And it is, even some of these drugs are grown, okay? They are grown, and there's a lot of hopelessness. If you come to any of the cities of West Nile, on a daily basis, you will be able to meet a new face of a mentally afflicted person.
Okay.
And then we're like, okay, what do we do? So one thing I had to do was to put up structures and then begin to engage with the religious leaders, so that we can be able to train religious leaders on how to handle community-based mental health practices, and then so that they can be able to help us down there and then quickly notice what is going on and then make referrals where need be, because at the end of the day, we needed the experts, the medical experts, to be able to handle some of these cases. But on the grassroots, the issues of psychosocial support, the issues of support on the family level, that one can be done by any person.
Okay, Daniel, I mentioned in the introduction back on the show that you're talking this judging from your personal experience. But you personally, Daniel, how did you come out of your own depression? How did you cope with that?
Well, like I said, most times people who are in depression live in denial. And I was one of them, living in denial. You have a problem, but you tell everybody that you don't have a problem. But people notice that this guy has a problem. So I'm really grateful to the people who stood with me and helped me to overcome and get through this. I would have given so many names. You know, mostly these people were in Masaka. And I'm grateful to them, you know. So, but one thing I want to say is, from my own experience, I had to learn to be able to reach out. There was a time that people couldn't believe I am one person who loves moving out, but there were times that I just wanted to be in bed, just be there, contemplating what next. You know, I am one person who didn't bother. People began to see. In fact, I'm grateful to some of the people who really stood by me. I remember these particular 4 people. Let me mention their names. One is Mama Maria. I'm really grateful to Mama Maria Juko, Kasita, Mama RDC. I'm grateful. Why? Because one time she noticed all these changes in me, and then she was able to call me home. She sat me down and talked to me. And I remember that time I had not eaten for many days. And whatever she gave me to eat, I think I really did justice to them, you know. And the second person I'm grateful to is Mama Juliet Mugurusi. This lady is the one who helped me to realize where I was at. You know, she didn't do much. She just asked me one question one time. I met her at church premises, and then she asked me, Daniel, are you coming from home? I said, yeah. Why? She just said, okay. So that question took me by surprise. And then I went back, I sat. And then I asked somebody, I said, please, am I okay? Am I okay? Said, why do you ask? I said, because I was asked if I'm coming from home. So is there something wrong with me? Just tell me. It's okay, just tell me. I'm not. So this person was able to tell me, yeah, There's A, B, C, D.
Daniel.
But people were actually fearing to approach me. But there were those who were actually bold enough to try to engage. When she asked me that question, and then Mama Maria was able to take me and sit me home and then talk to me. And then I remember also one teacher, Sister Resty. Resty was also able to sit me down, and she was like, Daniel, I want to talk to you, but please don't take offense.
Yeah.
You know, she's this kind of person who will call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, why not? So she said, I've noticed A, B, C, D with you. What's going on?
Because I'm going to take a pause there. It's almost related to that. Daniel, how, because these are sensitive people, and they're passing through one of the most sensitive times of their life, how do you best approach them?
What happens is people who are depressed out there, many times people don't understand them. The issue is approach. How do you approach somebody who is actually depressed? To appreciate that actually there is still help. To accept counseling, to accept medications, to accept to live life normally. You know, but in most cases people live in denial. But the issue is approach. So when these people approach me from that perspective, I sat down with them and then I began to realize. Then I remember this brother Ken. He's from Kitugum, Kenneth Omara. He camped with me and spent some good time really with me, you know, talking to me, and then he will give me some songs to listen to. I will listen to these songs. It will, you know, make me feel good, and then he will talk to me. He will, even his presence alone, just the presence, things began shifting, you know, so that the overwhelming worries were kind of reduced. So what am I trying to bring out? Like I said it earlier on, the cause of depression is anxiety in the heart of man. But a good word makes it glad. Now the question will be, how do you bring the good word to somebody who is actually depressed? Because the whole issue is approach. Then understand this person. This is what I want to say. When you have a depressed person, understand them, because there are those who are actually violent, because they will want to preserve themselves. They will try everything possible to push people away from them.
And then there are some that don't want to get the help.
Exactly.
What do you do about that?
Now, those who don't want the help, it is because of stigma.
Okay.
Yeah, it is because of the stigma.
Is it just only stigma?
It is not only, you know, the whole thing is the issue of judgment. Because people always judge.
Okay.
You know, that's why I always say that you don't have to judge somebody who is actually depressed. Because people get depressed under various circumstances. Everybody walks a dark road, you know, but sometimes we don't notice these dark roads. People are actually walking. Just because somebody is driving a good car, you think actually they're doing well, but actually inside them, they're hurting, they're bleeding.
This is a strong title for a book of this magnitude.
Yeah.
It says, Hope in the Age of Depression. I'm supposing this could be one of the tools one can use in this modern world to cope with depression. And
True.
This is written by your words.
Yeah.
What, in a nutshell, what can somebody expect from such a book?
From this book here, somebody will expect...
They could not even be passing through depression, but they want to understand the knowledge,
they want to understand.
so that they identify any other person.
In fact, this book, I did it in 2 phases. One, for somebody who has been depressed and is actually struggling through it. And then 2, the last chapter of this book is actually for a caregiver. For somebody who is taking care of somebody who has been depressed, or somebody who is depressed. How do you best approach this kind of person? How do you best work with this person? How do you give this kind of person help as a caregiver or as a parent whose child is struggling with depression? How best can you help? So it is my story which helps where I had to put what I went through and what I have seen others go through and what I did and what also others did to come out of it, and then from my own experience, how best to help somebody to handle. How do you approach somebody who is violent? How do you approach somebody who doesn't want to take medications? How do you handle somebody who is living in denial? Okay. You know, it is all in this package. So the whole issue here is, my hope is that this book will be a tool of healing. Okay. To bring healing, to bring restoration and transformation.
Daniel, remind people how they can get in touch. For example, if one needs a copy of this, that can help them. And if one wants some of your knowledge and advice and, you know, counseling and whatever that you do, how could they contact you? Do you have social outlets?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Like if somebody is in Arua, you can go to Radio Patches and you can get yourself a copy of this book. If somebody is in Koboko, they can go to Universal Bookshop.
Okay.
In Koboko, they can get themselves a copy.
Yeah.
And if somebody is in Kampala here, they can come always to our home of our books, Uganda Bookshop. Okay. They can be able to get themselves a copy, or they can still get me, and then we do home deliveries.
How do they get you?
They can get on the numbers 0774 805028. I repeat, 0774 805028. They can get in touch with me, and if they are in Arua, please, you can always get me most times in Arua City. But we keep moving like West Nile. And please, when you want to reach out to our Arua base, you can first give us an appointment. You can give us a call, and then we will be able to make that appointment. You can come, and we have that discussion. Even here, when we are here, like even when I'm here in Kampala, the people who make calls, and we help them.
Hope in the age of depression, could he be the answer? We shall find out, I guess. Get yourself a copy of this, and don't be shy. Get yourself a copy of it. How much is it?
It is only 30,000 Ugandan shillings.
Only 30,000 Ugandan shillings. Would you look at that? Daniel, like so many people, he's trying to challenge a lot of people who can change their past into something that can be great. And I would hope that you learned a thing or two. Contact him personally or reach out to any person that can help you wherever you are. Depressed people need our help, guys. We should come together and help them. When you see one, don't shy away from one. You know, just find a way of helping them. Reach out for some help. It has been a great show, and it has been nice chilling with you guys from the beginning up to the end. Until next time, we get another incredible guest. This has been Daniel, and see you again next weekend. Bye and take care.